Back Row Ministry, the World Commitments, the Mahdi coming back at you live and direct from the Kia Optima Studios. So I said what I was going to say, and I told you guys that following my statement about the Kyrie Irving situation, that other people were going to say things. Prominent people were going to speak up, and you see that Louis Farrakhan spoke up. And like I said, and you guys have been with me for a while. I don't agree with everything Louis Farrakhan says, but he was on the money with the statements that he made in regards to how we as a people still have the crabs in the barrel mentality to pulling the crab back in that's trying to get out, and defending a brother who just wants to know who he is. And we should applaud young black men, young black women who want to know their history. And as I told y'all before, this has nothing to do, and I told a couple of friends, this has nothing to do with anti-Semitism. This has to do with you exposing people who don't want to accept the history of the Hebrew people and the history of the religion itself. We're in a time of diversity and inclusion. We hear this talk all the time, especially in Hollywood, especially in politics. Diversity and inclusion, diversity and inclusion. We want a diverse society where everyone is included in all aspects. We share things alike. We share culture alike. We educate people. And the place where you think, and it's always been diversity and inclusion, you would think would be in our religious practices. And you're seeing a lot more of that in Christian churches, a lot of diverse Christian churches. Buddhism has always been a very diverse religion. Al-Islam has always been a varying diverse religion. But what's wrong with Judaism? What's wrong with the religion that was created in Africa by our ancestors, by the Hebrew people? What is wrong with the religion of Judaism? Why is it not diverse and inclusive? Now, I'm going to stop right there because I'm going to say in America, it has not been diverse and inclusive. I met a lot of Jews that are African American here in the New York, New Jersey area. And one sister told me a story of how years ago, when her family first got here, they had to create what's called the Hebrew Church in New York City because the synagogues were so racist, they would not let people of color attend. And I want somebody in one of those synagogues to call me a liar about that because these are elders, older Hebrews that are part of this Hebrew church that just wanted to practice and be included inside of their religion and practice as a diverse group of people. Judaism is God's religion, just like Al-Islam, just like Christianity. They all have different principles, but they try to bring you back to the one. Judaism states that man is chosen. God has chosen you. We are all children of God. We are all children of the Most High. That's what Judaism teaches. Judaism doesn't teach that only Eastern Europeans, which most of the followers of Judaism here in this East Coast area are Eastern European, from the Ukraine, from Hungary, from Russia, from Poland, are the chosen people. That's not what the religion is teaching. The religion teaches that all are God's chosen people. So if I, being born and raised a Muslim, learn that there is only one God, one creator, and I follow that principle, then my brother who can be from Russia, my brother who can be from Libya, my brother who can be from Pakistan, we all follow the principle together. We don't look the same, but we all have the same value. And how dare anyone say that only an Eastern European can have this value? You have lied on God, because God did not say that. He said all are chosen. If you go to Israel, you see various shades of Jews in Israel, various shades of people that practice Judaism, the diversity you see. You had that dingbat Adam Sandler in his last movie be surprised that there were Jews in Ethiopia. Why would he be surprised that there are black Jews? Why would he think that God stopped at Eastern Europeans when it came to Judaism? How the hell did Judaism start in Eastern Europe? This goes back to denying the history of the religion. God made religions for everybody. It don't matter which one you choose. We want to see diversity in our religions. And the saddest thing is, you come out here to the East Coast and come to some of these synagogues within your city, Chicago, New York. You don't see any diversity in those synagogues. You don't see a black person anywhere. But then somebody has the audacity to say, "Oh, well, what we want a bond between people of color." The bond starts in your church. The bond starts with how your church looks. You can't be racist and want to bond with a person. You can't be prejudiced and want to bond with people. But then you always quick to say, "Well, people are hating on us." Well, where your black members are. I want people next Saturday to go to synagogue, sit outside, and tell me how many people of different ethnicities and colors you see walk out of synagogue. How many do you see? How many black people? How many Asian people? How many Hispanics? How many people walk out of there that don't look Eastern European? But then you say we're not racist. Stop lying first on God. Stop lying to yourself by claiming that you have diversity as a principle when you don't. When it's not the true face of the religion. If you go to other places in the world, Israel, around in those places, Africa, you see people practicing Judaism, the original religion. It was not meant for one set of people. And when it looks that way, that's when people say something. Don't keep lying on the creator. You keep lying on the creator, sooner or later, you're going to pay for that. And the creator's going to deal with you. Religion is for everybody. The culture is for everybody. And the origin is the truth. All religions were based on the principles that were found in places in Africa. The children of Israel, that story is wrapped around places in Africa. We all, even Eastern Europeans, started in Africa. This never had anything to do with people of color. This has to do with you and your people continuing to be ashamed of who you are. We're not ashamed of who we are. You're ashamed of who you are. And why is that? If you're God's children, why are you ashamed of who you are? Why are you ashamed of what you come from? Why ashamed of how your people got their start? How you bore faith and found something that you can mold into a powerful energy that would help your people? Why are you ashamed of that? And now the fear of people of color realizing, hey, we have a lot of ties to this Hebrew religion. We never got away from it. Where do you think Christianity comes from? The Hebrew religion. Where does Al-Islam come from? The Hebrew religion. People of color, we never got away from it. It was always there. It's the same damn thing. Practice what you want to, but practice. but practice. Big issue I see is people claiming to be certain things but don't practice. I've met people who claim to be Jewish and talking about they're atheists. How are you Jewish if you're an atheist? How are you Jewish if you're an atheist? It's a difference between being raised a thing, practicing a thing, and being a thing. I was raised a Muslim. I was raised a Muslim. I don't practice Al Islam anymore. So can I continue to call myself a Muslim? I still share the values and principles of Al Islam, but I grew above and beyond that. So I don't claim to be a Muslim, but I do continue to respect the principles and values. I respect the principles and values of Judaism. I respect the principles and values of Christianity. A lot of good principles and values in those religions. There are some that, hey, I can do without. The extra books, the Talmuds. Al Islam got his extra Prophet Muhammad books with some things in there that are not kosher. But I respect the principles and values in each religion. I can take something from each story. Sumerian history. I can tie that all back into. I can tie that all back into the religions you see today. But I'm not going to say that I'm a thing when I'm not that thing. And it shouldn't be convenient. If you're raised something, that does not mean you are that thing. I meet a lot of Jewish people here in New York. They say, well, I'm Jewish. Okay. But the question is, well, where do you come from? Well, I'm Jewish. Okay. That's like somebody asking me where I come from, and I say, well, I'm Muslim. I'm not telling you where I come from. I'm from Chicago. That's a place. Jew is not a place. It is a religion. Why are you ashamed to tell me you come from Eastern Europe, the Ukraine, Poland, places like that? You're ashamed of your own culture, your own heritage? I meet some who tell me where they come from. We're from Russia. We're Russian Jews. We come from here. We come from over here. We come from Hungary. Tell me a little bit more about that. How did Judaism get to those places? And they educate me on it. But you got some that use it as a shield. And society has allowed them to do this. Religion should never be used as a shield. Religion is what we practice and we get our value from that. But it's not your shield. It's not, well, if I'm this, then you can't say anything to me. You can't point at my wrongs. Because God stated that every man has some character issues and woman has character issues that sometimes you got to point at. You got to say something so that person can get back on track. We all are God's chosen people. Everybody. Everybody has been chosen by the Creator. Don't go speaking for the Creator. We have Judaism, the original religion. We have Al Islam. We have Christianity. We have Buddhism. We have a myriad of religious practices that bring us back to the Most High. And the beauty of our world in this diverse and inclusive world, if that's what it's going to be, is learning that we must practice these values and principles together. I want to go to a synagogue and see people of color walk out of the synagogue, practicing that religion. Practicing. Even my Orthodox churches, Eastern European Orthodox churches. I'm not seeing diversity in the church. I'm not seeing it. Now, there's diversity between Eastern Europeans, which is a beautiful thing, bringing the Polish together with the Russian engagement with the Ukrainians. That's beautiful. But also allowing other people to benefit from the teachings of Orthodox Christianity. Seeing some of the ties that has to the other religions. Why does it differ from their various branches? Allow people to learn, but don't lock people out. There are always going to be various sects in religions. You got various sets of Christians, various sets of Muslims. You have various sets of Jews. You got your Hasidics. You got your Hebrew Israelites. You got a lot of various sets. There's not one set of anything. This term anti-Semitic, I broke this down before. Black people cannot be anti-Semitic. Once again, black people cannot be anti-Semitic. Can they be prejudiced? Yes. So let's use a term where you're being prejudiced against this set of Jews. Let's use that term. Semitic languages were created in Africa in a mixture of Bantu and other tribal languages. But Semitic languages were created in Africa. Semitic has nothing to do with a set of people. And somebody redefined that fittingly, so it represents Jews. So there are black Jews. So how can I be anti-Semitic? There's black Jews. There's Hebrew Israelites. There's black Hebrew. If you want to call a person prejudiced, call them prejudiced. But find a logical reason. To the Kyrie thing, there was no logical reason behind that. That goes right back to lack of diversity, lack of inclusion in religion. Not allowing people to follow the Creator the way it was intended, to learn about the holy books the way they were intended, to actually read them. A lot of people don't even read the holy books. They don't sit down and read the Torah. They don't sit down and read the Quran. They don't sit down and read the Bible. If you read the Bible, you have a greater understanding. And now black people are beginning to understand the Bible. They're beginning to understand these stories. We have a great history. We have a great history. And you can't keep trying to deny people history because you don't want to be diverse and inclusive. You want it all for yourself. Don't lie on the Creator. Don't lie on the Creator. Creator didn't stop in Eastern Europe and say, well, that's the end of creation. He started in Africa, and creation grew from there. We have to stop this as a culture and as a people. Religion is for everybody. Religion is broad. Religion is a mix of stories that have to be learned. These stories have an origin. And your scholars have stated this. It's not me stating this. This is information I got from your scholars. But religion is for everybody. And I should see diversity and inclusion. And watch YouTube try to take this off. And I'm using words diversity and inclusion that I don't see in synagogues in America. Yeah, there's supposed to be a bond between black and Jewish people. Well, let's start the bond of why don't we practice a religion together to begin the bond? Let me see some black Jews come out of some of these synagogues, along with my white Jewish brothers and sisters. Let's see that bond being built. Let's see an education in Judaism. Let's see more people of color being brought into Judaism. You got some of the greatest speakers of Hebrew inside of the synagogue. You got brothers now who speak Hebrew like it ain't nothing. Get together, let's make it even stronger. Strengthen those brothers' understanding of the Hebrew dialect, and how some of the things should be stated. Hebrew schools could be popping. Some of the most diverse and inclusive schools could be your Jewish schools. Because you got a lot of people of color interested in the religion, a lot more interested in coming back to the original religion. If you think you're powerful now, you really be powerful as a religious group. Think about the most powerful religious group still around the world is the Catholic Church, because they have nobody to match them. Why? Because they're diverse and inclusive. My mother, they were Catholics. They were born and raised Catholic, and many of them still practice Catholicism. But it's diverse and inclusive. It's not, well, only Italians and Romans, or anybody in Italian can be Catholic, nobody else. If they stopped at that, you wouldn't have what you have today. They didn't say only people in Rome could be Catholics. They expanded the religion. They let people come into the religion. Did they have some practices that were wrong? Yes. Because as I said, God said every man needs to work on his character. But they have a religion that's diverse and inclusive. I don't have to worry about going to a Catholic church. Only in some places, though, it still happens. But for the most part, you can walk into Catholic churches and see people of diverse colors, different ethnic groups coming out of that church. So, as I said before, culture and history is to be taught, not to be brought. Culture and history is to be taught, not to be brought. And it's our job to continue to teach history, to continue to bring people into various cultures, to create this diverse and inclusive umbrella that people talk about all the time but don't practice. Religion was created by man. The values are to bring them closer to the Creator. These things and principles started in the motherland, and they expanded out from that place. And everybody got a taste of it. Everybody got a taste of it. Judaism is one of the original religions practiced by Hebrews. Hebrews came from Africa. Practice together. Practice together. That's all I ask. We learn how to practice together and stop trying to create racist practices in religion and then say you're not racist. When you practice, say as you're racist. Stop doing that. You'll find that things might change for you. You might actually learn about the people who you really don't want to have too much to do with. You might learn something about African culture if you get around some Africans, get around some people of color. Actually take the time to learn who they are, learn who you are, learn where you come from. But we must stop the racism in religion. We must stop the prejudice in religion. We've got to stop it. And the big piece is we have to stop denying that we're all African. We're all ashamed to be from the motherland. We're all ashamed to be from this place. There's nothing wrong with being from the Alpha. Because at the end, it'll be the Omega too. You usually finish where you start. Let's finish together. Let's finish together. Mr. Mahdi, Back Row Ministry.